Gesualdi's podcast, WATP.
Vito Gesualdi, he's melting down. He's handling the internet very poorly. I think he's making a lot of mistakes. I want to point out what those mistakes are. I don't know what he's going to do to fix this because I'm worried about him and The Biggest Problem in the Universe, the show I'm a big fan of, and him and Dick Masterson co-host that show. And it started with Vito started blocking supporters of the show. He was going in and blocking anyone who was making fun of him. People are calling him fat. They're typing in things like oink, oink. He's not enjoying that. So he starts blocking people who are on the Patreon, who are giving donations and super chats. And he's also going all over social media and calling people out. And he started beefing with Riley in the Discord. And during this beef with Riley, now Riley is also young Klippa, and it's the same guy. Riley has been involved in this show before. He actually wrote a diss track rap song to Patrick Michael many years ago. Because I remember Patrick Michael coming on the show and talking about it. We're like, who did this? Who made it? And then Riley remembered like a month later. He's like, oh, that's right. I did that. I forgot. I sent that to him. So Riley's been involved for a long time. He's producer of The Dick Show. And he's been around. Of course, Mint has been a long time. I think I see a potato's eyes popping through the mouth of Lars right now.
I am Ross Coulson.
I recognize those eyes. So, of course, Mint's been a big part of the show. She's on a lot of the posters.
Gay thing to say.
What was a gay thing to say?
I recognize those eyes.
Yeah, well, dude, you're a fancy potato.
It's kind of gay.
Fair enough. I'm not J-O-ing to Cardiff's caricature, if that's what you
What have you got against gays?
Thank you. Now, Riley and Mint Salad are a team. They're together. And so Vito's going after Riley and calling out Mint Salad's YouTube channel for some reason, even though he's mad at Riley. And this escalated to the point where Riley said he's going to come over to Vito's house and commit crimes that will not be prosecuted in Los Angeles. Of course, famously, Los Angeles does not like to prosecute crime. So I think that's the point that he was trying to make. And Ethan Von Sciver talked about this because he's part of the same Discord. And he wanted to weigh in on this situation here.
Vito is retarded. Can I just say something? Like, Vito is like actually retarded. So Vito is making fun of Riley and Riley's inability to get views on his channel, according to Vito, but he's doing it. He's pointing at Mint Salad's channel in order to demonstrate that Riley isn't a good promoter, but that's Mint Salad's channel, not Riley's. But maybe Riley helps with it, according to Vito. And so Mint Salad got really upset. And so basically Mint Salad and Riley are like going at Vito. And Riley does what he does. Riley's like, I'm going to show up at your house and I'm going to, commit some increasingly hostile and violent illegal acts against you. That's what Riley does. He's like a fucking wrestling guy, and Vito was actually panicking. Do not come to my house. Do not come to my house.
Yeah. So that's where we're at with Vito. He's very concerned that Riley is going to show up to his house and he's freaking out and panicking about it. And let me just address this. Nero Da Vinci says, F Vito, you claim to hate people that try to cancel shows, Carl. But what about when Vito tried to cancel Friday Night Tights for having Alex Jones on? Just the shows you like, huh? I thought that was a scumbag move. I know Dick addressed it at the time. I think he tweeted YouTube or whatever it was, whatever channel it was on. It's bullshit to ever try to get the social media people involved in getting channels taken down and shows taken down. I hate all of it. I think that was a dick move by Vito. I think Vito is digging a hole for himself here. It's brutal. He called up Riley and Mint and had private conversations that both parties recorded. So this was going to be content no matter what. And here's part of the phone call.
Riley, you will go to jail. I'm trying to save your fucking life.
I'm going to take a bucket of pig's blood and I'm going to pour it in the cracks in your car so that the inside of your car is covered in pig's blood.
That's fine, Riley. That's fine. Why don't we just stop fighting? And if you want me to not talk about you, I won't talk about you. Why don't we just,
Bro!
You don't even have to be my friend. I won't talk about you.
The hat's over
If
the
that's what
fence,
you need.
Vito. The hat is over the fence.
The what?
The
The
hat.
hat is over the fence.
I don't know what that means.
You've eaten enough ballpark franks to know what that means.
Let me pause it real quick. Is it pretty obvious to everyone that Riley is joking? So the voice that you're hearing, who's doing the WWE shit talking stuff, you've needed enough ballpark franks to know what that means. The hat is over the fence, is fucking around. And for whatever reason, Vito, has a YouTube channel that's very large, been on the internet for most of his adult life, is not understanding what this is. He's taking it way too seriously. I can't figure out why. He's having some type of crisis going on. Because it started with blocking people who were making fun of him, celebrating Oinktober, and now he's having private phone calls where he's all upset about this.
I'm sure it'll help his existing court case when they have evidence of him doing the same behavior later.
Okay, so what this is talking about, I was actually hoping that Chrissy would be here. I wanted to get her take on it, but she has more important things to do. I totally understand that. So what this is talking about is Riley was arrested in Dallas for going to an Eric July event and kind of causing a scene, spending a lot of time there and annoying people. And it turns out that Eric July has a warrant for Riley. And so the police showed up and arrested him. And so Riley's facing some criminal charges potentially in Dallas. And so Vito is now threatening to use these threats that are obviously jokes to get him in even more trouble in Dallas, which is a dick move. This is unacceptable. And I hate getting social media authorities involved. Getting the actual authorities involved is way, way worse. This is Stuttering John level LOLCOW. I'm not happy with this at all.
Help his existing court case when they have evidence of him doing the same behavior later.
Oh,
It's up
boy.
to you, man. If you want to be in a jail cell, it's your choice.
California.
It's California.
You can go, what? You can take pictures of Sniper Wolf's house, but not Vito Gesualdi's?
No, I think I'm going to send all that evidence to Texas.
Oh, my God. He's going to snitch on you to Texas.
I absolutely will. I will send all evidence of you fucking with my property to Texas.
Game, set, match, Vito.
Okay, so they're Mint and Riley are having some fun with this. And there was a reference made there. It was a little bit fucked up, but apparently Vito defended Sniper Wolf when Sniper Wolf went to Jack's Film's house, and put it up on social media. People are like, well, that's doxing. That's fucked up. Don't do that. Vito's like, oh, you can do that. It's fine. And now Riley's going, I'm going to come to your house. He's like, you can't do that. That's my property. You can't come to my property. There's a supercut, and we'll get to the Dick Show stuff, where he mentioned you can't come to my property like 1,000 times. And Dick's like, yeah, we get it. Don't come to the property. Here's a little bit more from the phone call here.
I'm going to commit a series of escalating crimes against you, Vito, that California won't prosecute me for.
Okay.
Get ready for property damage and theft.
Okay, you're going to commit property damage and theft.
So these are obvious jokes based on the fact that theft is up to like $950. They won't prosecute you if it's less than that. And property damage, they don't give a shit about anymore in LA. So these are jokes that Riley's making. And Vito's taking it very seriously. He rents a house somewhere and is just like, you can't come to my house and cause damage. It's so terrible. How can you say that? Which is ridiculous. So Dick is addressing this on his show. And Riley comes over to Dick's house to talk about it with him. So this actually turns into a very long segment. I want to play you a couple highlights from this, just to show you how unhinged Vito is and how poorly he's handling this whole thing.
When you come to it.
I needed to make Riley very clear of that because Riley, I don't know exactly what he understands of what's private property and what's public property.
You did when he was bugging Eric July. You said it was hilarious and that everyone knows Riley's harmless and that he's just goofing around and that all Eric has to do is ignore it.
I said,
because it's obvious.
I know when he's
actually, he said all Eric had to do was come outside and talk to Riley with shaving cream on his shoulders.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't believe I said that.
So here's really the crux of the issue from Dick's perspective. And I feel for Dick Masterson because they've been going after Eric July for a long time. And the reason why they do is not so much because he wrote a shitty comic book, but because he doesn't handle the criticism well. He wants to get authorities involved. He doesn't think it's fair. You're not allowed to make fun of him. He can do no wrong. And so for Vito to react this way kind of ruins the whole party for everyone. Yeah, it's a little bit hypocritical. And it also makes it, I was listening to Biggest Problem from this past Friday, and Eric July gets brought up, and Nick's like, well, we can't talk about him anymore because you're handling shit even worse. So now we can't goof on him for not handling things well. Kind of fucks it all up. And the Eric July stuff, like young Clippa, Riley, talked about going to Eric July's grandfather's grave and peeing on it or something like that. And Eric July took it super seriously and totally overreacted to it. And so they made fun of him for overreacting to this thing that didn't happen and is ridiculous anyway, even if it did.
Like
so
going to a graduation?
Right. It's very similar to, you're going to go to my kid's graduation? You're going to go to my grandfather's grave? It's just like, yeah, so what if they do? How does that affect your life? What are you talking about? Who gives a shit? And it's also a joke. It's just to get a rise out of people. That's the whole point of doing these things, to get a rise out of people.
Mission accomplished.
Yes. And so Dick is just like, dude, do you really think he's going to come to your property? This is the guy who you could hear on those phone calls. You could see from the Discord, and even Ethan was saying this. It's just like, well, yeah, it's obviously a joke. You need to calm down. You can tell the way that he's even explaining this is nonsense. But Vito just doubles and triples down on it.
Or in general. You think he's a threat?
I think that he intends to come onto my property. I don't care what he does there.
You just don't want him there at all.
I don't know if he's a threat or not. I just don't want him there at all.
How many ladyboys are you hiding in your house?
Here's the deal. I need to make this. This is a boundary I need to set for everyone. And if I say, oh, it's okay for Riley to come onto my property.
You never needed to say it's okay. You've just been saying this on repeat over and over and over
because
for like
it's
24 hours.
Because it's becoming a bit for the show. The bit for the show is
it's becoming a bit that because you're reacting like this.
I don't want the bit to be it's okay to go to Vito's house and fuck with his house.
No one has done that.
But they're joking about it like it's okay.
Riley's joking about it.
And other people are egging him on.
Well, can you blame him?
Right.
Okay, so the fans are egging on Riley, saying, "Yeah, you know, fuck with his private property. It's cool. Like you're trolling him." And I'm telling them, "Stay on the public street. That's it." And I have to keep saying it because people keep saying, "Oh, Riley, you should do it," or like, "Oh, you know, he's not actually."
I think you're making that up. I think you're lying about that. I think no one has told him to actually do it.
Does Vito not realize this is the Streisand effect? He's repeating over and over again, don't come to my property. Yes. Don't come on my property. Should I call into the Dick Show and explain that I don't want people coming to my property either?
It's extremely short-sighted to think that you're only dealing with Riley when you do this on the internet. Yeah. Everybody smells blood now.
Right. And also, repeating it over and over again, does that enforce it more? Does that mean it only increases the chances of people doing it because they know it's going to fuck with you and you're going to react poorly to it? How does he not know that?
Well, how does he not know that Riley's kidding around?
I know. He's being really stupid with this one. It's very embarrassing. And it's crazy because when the Biggest Problem was started, it was Dick and Maddox. And Maddox was the bigger celebrity of the two. And people respected Maddox and they liked his work. And a lot of people listened to that show because of Maddox being on that. And then as time went by, Maddox showed his true colors. And we realized that he's a pussy and couldn't handle any type of criticism and responded poorly to it. And now Dick has made it his mission to expose Maddox, and we're all having a lot of fun with that. Is Vito doing the same thing? Is this like the Biggest Problem curse? If you're co-hosting that show with Dick, you just turn into this type of person? It's not a good look. It's a bad strategy on Vito's part. I don't know what he's thinking. He can't be this dumb, but he has to be this dumb, or he wouldn't be reacting like this.
Do comic books make you stupid?
Probably.
Okay.
But most of the things I do make me stupid too, so I can't criticize that. All right. So Vito tries to think of a thing that he's like, well, what if I said this to Riley? He would probably react the same way that I'm reacting. I don't want people on my property. He makes it very clear. I have my cats live there. I like to cuddle with my cats. I want people peering into the window. He has a catio. He doesn't want people checking out the catio. He makes it very clear. Don't come to my property. He's like, what if I thought up a thing that I could say to Riley that he would freak out like I'm freaking out? And I don't think this went the way that Vito was hoping that it would.
if I called up Riley and I said I'm going to rape Mint, that would be like fucking horrendous. That would be over the.
It's retarded. No one. If you try to rape Mint would beat the shit out of you.
That's what's so funny. Vito acts like this would just be a thing that he could do. It's like, no, you couldn't. Mint would take you down, you dummy. What are you talking about? Riley would laugh in your face.
Yeah, Riley would just be eating popcorn in the corner.
Yes. It's so
Get a Mint.
It's so fucking stupid.
Did you see what she did to Ralph?
I don't want to rape Mint. Okay, that's not the point.
Well then why were you saying it?
Yeah. Then why are you saying that? That didn't get the reaction that you were hoping for, did it? Also, Vito's tried to be an edgelord for most of his life. I should point this out. This is a very important part of the story, is that I still get grief from people for being associated with Vito because Vito joked about raping children on Twitter. And when people called him on it, he doubled down and said, no, I'm definitely going to do that. And so people like Dick Masterson and myself know that those are jokes. He's not actually doing that. But then for him to understand that this is a joke that Riley's doing is so hypocritical, and it makes it impossible for us to defend the guy anymore. Because I do get grief with my association with Vito. When we did Hackamania, we invited Vito and Dick to Hackamania. Even Melton was getting grief for that. Like, Vito's not an easy guy to be associated with because of the shit that he says and does. And now he's being a fucking pussy like this? Unacceptable. I don't even know how to deal with it. Oh, and then I tweeted at him the other day because he wrote something about how, well, it must be easy to make money when you have Maddox and Stuttering John to clown talking about me and Dick. I'm like, you calling me a one-trick pony, motherfucker? I'm coming to your property. So I tweeted at him because how else do you respond to the guy at this point?
And producer Chris is going to steal up to $945 worth of shit.
Yes! We're going to price it out. I'll be on eBay checking it. Yeah, I'm going to go with $17 for that hammer. Okay.
I'll bring my axe.
Yes, please. We need to pillage. I think you're good at that, Lars.
Yes.
Here's the last clip I have. And this is from the Dick show. And Dick is so annoyed with Vito because Vito is trying to project something that's happening that's not happening. And Dick's too smart for this. And so he's going to call him out on it. Dick's had people visit his house before. He's had people come to his house. He doesn't like it. He does not invite people to his house that he doesn't know. And Dick is armed. Dick is armed. So you don't want
Vic is armed too.
Well, she's got a couple guns. So you do have to be careful with that. But this is a ridiculous thing. And I just liked Dick's reaction to it.
Because we all know he's not going to do it.
Why would he not do it? He says he's going to do it.
It seems like a lot of effort.
He's going to drive 3,000 miles to do what?
I want to be.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. They live in Kentucky. It's not like he's down the street from Vito, who lives in LA. So it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Be very clear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't want to set boundaries for your fans, and that's fine.
Oh, fuck you. What are you talking about? I don't want to set boundaries. See, this is what you do. You frame everybody's position in this way that degrades and demeans them. You have absolutely no respect for how people really feel.
I absolutely do.
You come at them hard. You go, that's exactly how you've started every conversation.
You're laughing at me setting a boundary.
Yeah, but you started with you don't like setting boundaries for your fans. Because I absolutely set boundaries for people.
Why are you upset that I'm doing it?
Why the fuck would you frame it like that?
Why are you upset that I'm setting a boundary?
Because you are acting like a fucking asshole with everyone who supported you. Everyone.
Listen to me.
You're lying and misrepresenting what they've said to you in private and in public.
I am not.
I'm really glad that Dick's never gotten this upset with me.
I would not want to be on the business end of that shit.
Yeah, this is great.
And it sounds pretty accurate. I don't know the entire story or history of these guys, but
oh yeah,
I've met Dick. I've met Vito.
Yeah, we've hung out with these guys. We know the deal.
The stories, check it out.
Absolutely are.
I
Slash
am
biggest
not.
problem.
I am not. Listen to me.
You fucking lied about it the whole time, and now you're going to start lying about fucking me.
What did I lie about?
And I will not
Tell me
let
what
you
I lied
do that.
about. What did I lie?
Why Mint is pissed, what Riley's intentions are, why Frog Tommy's pissed,
let's stop with
what
one.
Ethan Van Sciver told you.
Let's do one.
Which one?
Okay.
I love that. What did I lie about? Yeah. Rattles off 4 things off the top of his head. All right, what do you want to start? What do you want to start with? Let's get into it.
I wanted to see how long that list was going to go.
Yeah, I mean, Vito interrupted him. That's why it ended where it did.
Let's start with one, and we'll end with one.
So, yeah, I don't know what to make of this. I'm interested in what people think about this whole Vito thing. But they went out and they did Biggest Problem. After this happened, they did a Biggest Problem Friday. And Dick brought up Riley and Mint, and Vito just shuts down and stops talking.
Yeah.
And so Dick's just like, well, what are we doing? We're doing a comedy show and there's things I can bring up and you'll just stop talking. You're my co-host.
He's broken.
Yeah, it's bad.
The won't even look at me.
Right. This is very much like an Opie and Anthony kind of falling out scenario that we're seeing right here.
Who are